And just to tell you what is going on today. So the goal of these conversations is to know what is going on in the art industry, especially in this difficult moment, and to see how artists and art galleries can solve the problems and the challenges that they are facing now. We can talk about new trends, new digital activities, and hopefully our new guests will give us some advice and ideas. And the goal is to find the best way how we can share the new experiences in this new, fast-changing world. Okay, I can see people from Australia, from UAE, from very international. Okay, yes. Hello. Yeah, let me add our special guest. So our guest for today is Philip Colbert, is a British contemporary artist. Let me add him and he'll join us just in a couple of moments. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Philip.
Hi, I'm very impressed to tell you with your smooth running of these things, because I've done a couple before and I always get it wrong. So yeah. I am very impressed.
You know, sometimes also Instagram, like there is some hand up. Sometimes the connection is not so well.
Yeah.
You can't connect immediately. So yesterday I was interviewed for another program and I couldn't connect for I think a couple of minutes, so it can happen. I think we just picked a very good time, 12 minutes, yeah. So there is not so much traffic going on Instagram, so we got a good spot.
Amazing.
So how are you? I can see some nice lobster next.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring my alter ego to this conversation. I didn't want him to get upset. Yeah. I know, because people sometimes expect me to be dressed in a full lobster costume. So I knew I would be disappointing people. This is the real me. The real me is always in black.
It's always nice to see the real person.
No, but I'm sort of hiding behind the sunglasses. You see?
Yeah, today's sunny day in London, so you can do the lobster.
I know.
But your costumes, you design
yeah, my suits and things. I'm actually bringing out a T-shirt collection. I'll show you as well.
Show me.
We can talk about this a bit later, but I've created this project called Art Against the Virus.
Yeah.
So, you see, I'm bringing out this range of T-shirts, basically, where my lobster alter ego is fighting the virus.
I'll hope I get one.
Yeah, so they're all for the NHS, basically.
Yes, about this movement that you launched, it's Art Against the Virus. So tell us more about it and how.
Yeah, so have you seen it on my Instagram? It's like these videos I've been making, and then a range of sculptures and T-shirts and things that are basically to raise money for charities that are fighting COVID-19. I always, when I was younger, I was always obsessed by Art Against War as a movement, because I always felt that in times of crisis and times of negative trends in the world, I always liked the idea that art could fight back or try and make a difference or try and engage somehow. And I think the idea of the virus and being an artist, it just felt like I should try and put my energy into trying to do something or engage with that sort of topic in a way, and the challenge of it, and at least to try to sort of I was very lucky, and I had an amazing year in terms of the last year and things, and I just thought I wanted to try and spend a couple of months really trying to do things to try and help in a small way, basically.
So you're created this merchandise items and also limited edition artworks.
Yeah, I was yeah, exactly. It's just so I created a sort of a whole animation, and then from that, where my lobster character is basically fighting against this sort of evil virus that's invaded my lobster world. And yeah, I made a range of sculptures, like one with a company in Hong Kong called AP Portfolio. I got this hunt sculpture, with my Lobster, who's sort of like attacking this virus with swords and stuff. So it's sort of a nod to like classical Renaissance sculpture.
Yeah.
You know, the sort of grand battle scene, but then also being like hyper colorful and very like hyper pop.
So do you support some charity if people buy your artworks, which are art against the virus? So does it support some cause or?
Yeah, so the International Rescue Committee is supported by all the profits go to the International Rescue Committee for my sculptures, and the T-shirts campaign is going for the NHS. All the profits for those. So yeah, and then I've actually got so one is the collaboration in Hong Kong with a really big editions company, and then and I've also got a big satin collection launching in Asia, and I've created 60 stores with 60 concessions and stores with art against the virus and like all the different merchandise, and again all the profits from it go to.
So you keep yourself busy during the virus time, during the lockdown.
Well, trying to stay busy, but I've also got 2 kids, so it's like
really.
I'm also trying to like they're 4 and 2.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, I heard you have your wife Charlotte. She's in the movie industry.
Yeah, she just made her first feature film.
Amazing.
It's like a horror film.
Does she help you? Like you launch your cartoon? Art against the virus.
Well,
so
she's
behind that.
She's like crazy busy herself. So basically, so she's sort of really working on her editing of her movie, and so my animation stuff is actually all derived from like my I use a lot of software when I'm modeling for my paintings. So I use the same software to basically create the animation. So I take a lot of the 3D renderings I've made for sculptures and things, and then I use those to create the simulations.
So you're very good with technology.
Well, trying. You know, I think today is like technology offers an amazing opportunity. I mean, obviously not everyone necessarily wants to play with technology in art, but for me, it's a really interesting way of like trying to push the possibilities of my art and like create a new phenomenon in art in a way.
Yeah, so in your artworks, they're very vivid, the colors are so bright, and you use all this new world, like emojis, all these images we can see on Instagram and social media. So how does the creative process work? So first you create your artwork and like you use some program on your computer and then you paint. So how is the creative process happening?
Yeah, so I often start with like sketches. Like here's a sketch for a new painting. I don't know if you can quite see it. It's like a triptych.
Yeah, you can see
and it's the lobster at sea. And so it takes a sort of a very like an old Renaissance style structure in terms of a triptych. And then the sort of you can see the sort of detail of the lobster sort of fishing. Yeah. So that will become like a large scale painting, like a 3-panel painting. And obviously there'll be lots of detail. I often start with like a rough compositional sketch, and then develop it on the computer in terms of like play around with rendering opportunities and like the ways, because I'm trying to in a way with my painting I'm trying to achieve like a completely unique aesthetic in the way it's in the way I render an image. And I think by drawing and then rendering that drawing and then hyper defining that drawing almost like a product, it's a way of like almost productifying my painting to define its identity, if that makes sense. So it's like processing my work in this sort of processing form, which gives it a slightly new voice in painting, if that makes sense. And also it's like I'm trying to engage in a way with this brand world idea.
Yeah.
And how I can mix art history with sort of processing imagery, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So do you think the world will change after this COVID-19 situation? Because especially all this era of technology, do you believe now you will use more technology and everything will be
it's very interesting that actually digital? It's a very interesting question, because I think in a way there's such opposing ideas. Like in a way, like for today, in a way, digital art is the most relevant art right now, because obviously with COVID, you know, the idea of going to museums or galleries and things is sort of not possible. So everything is like going digital, and also the reality of art certainly has been going that way for a long time. If you look at how much art is consumed on Instagram, I mean, it's become like art is processed and consumed digitally, even if it's made like in a shed millions of miles away from a computer. It's still it ends up going that way. So I think that's definitely been like a trend. But I think the interesting thing now is like, in a way, with the lockdown, people are sort of changing their lifestyle a bit, and maybe they're still consuming a lot, but they're also going back to basics in a way. And so it's creating this weird like split where you've got, in one hand, like a more futuristic approach with hyper digital, and then another way going back to basics. So it's sort of an interesting tension and dynamic there.
Do you see it as a positive trend, or how do you?
Well, I think it's like the silver lining of it. I think that obviously, like, COVID is a terrible force, obviously, because it's killing so many people, and it has a very detrimental effect on the economy and everything, and so it's a really like, I guess it's a world pandemic, like, negative situation. However, there are obviously there's lots of positive possibilities from it, as well as negative, obviously. But I think there's definitely positive things. I mean, I think that a lot of people tell me that aside from all the challenges it brings in their life, that in a way their time to spend with their families and stuff, in a way outside of this rigorous system of the hamster wheel of like intense pressures of work and things like that, in a way that there's a lot of positives from that, I think, and maybe that people's value systems really connecting again to just back into the basics of, because I think that our capitalist systems do make us very, desiring constantly all these things that we don't necessarily need. So I think there's definitely interesting things from it. I think like, it's super interesting, even, for example, us having this chat through a digital thing. It's
exactly.
So,
we couldn't imagine this happening like just a few years ago.
No, of course, it's completely bonkers. I mean, it's like the complete democratization of the TV. I mean, it's like it's sort of Warhol's dream in a way that everyone. I mean, Instagram was already sort of that, with that everyone becoming like their own media station, but now it's like it's properly become that.
So what do you think? What is the future of art galleries in this case, if everything is going digital? Like, for example,
well, something I saw which I thought was super cool was this trend for like miniature galleries. Like, because obviously when you look at art on the phone, you don't know if it's actually big or small. So people are making these miniature rooms, which are actually little sets, and they're making miniature little paintings, and they're photographing them with little miniature people, and it looks obviously to a phone like it's real in terms of the scale, but it's actually miniature. And I think there's something so cool about that, because think about in art fairs, think about how much money is wasted shipping art all over the world, and it's often the same art. So it's often the same, or a rough mix of the same art, and the same people are traveling all over the place. So
to ship all these artworks from all around the world. Yeah, that's true.
So well, I like the idea of the miniature idea, because it's just so efficient. It's so, the ideas and the freedom of art, basically, for people to express ideas and is still there, but it's being on a miniature scale makes it so much more economic. And if everyone is an artist, then maybe that's the new rule, that everyone has to make miniature art. It could be the future. I mean, I make big paintings, so I'm not necessarily going to be happy about that. But and I do like big paintings, but I think in terms of the world, and who knows. Yeah,
like now it's a time of Freeze New York, and yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday, is a preview day, and everything was digital. So we could go throughout different galleries, zoom on the pictures, like the paintings, and we had some experts talking through. So it was really actually exciting. So you could really see the details, and so you don't have to fly somewhere to spend so much time and money.
No, of course.
And you can like click on the gallery, or like zoom the particular painting, because when you go to, for example, Frieze or Art Basel, whatsoever, by the time like you spend like a few days there, and you don't even see everything, or you forget. But here, when it's digital, you really focus, like, what do you want to see? You pick a particular gallery or an artist, so it's so much easier.
Yeah, it's so much more efficient, 100%. If you think of all the wasted carbon emissions and all that stuff, I mean, it's crazy. So I think in that sense, it's sort of, it's very interesting. Yeah, as you say, I think, and I think that's the thing. I think that even with this video conferencing stuff, I think people have learned probably in in this period that they can work in different ways. You know, they can adapt and they can actually be more efficient, maybe. And so, maybe, you know, maybe the good things like that might come out of it. Maybe new ways of looking at things.
Someone just commented that Samsung launched a TV to show the artwork. So I guess it's like really high resolution, so you can really feel the picture of an artwork.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Really amazing. Or like I think now, like you wear like 3D glasses and you can.
No, I mean, that's amazing. I created some virtual reality pieces. You know, I have this like art world called Lobsterland where my creative. So the lobster is my like art persona. He's like my creative
tell us about
identity.
The lobster, because once you said like you became an artist when you became a lobster. So what does it mean? Who is this lobster guy?
Who is this guy? I know. Who are you?
What is he into?
Yeah. Basically, so this guy, this lobster, is in a way like he's evolved in my work over a while, and then he sort of. I started like really drawing him as an actual character, and this suit that he's wearing, this fried egg suit, is actually is actually a suit that I have myself, or I have a variety of these suits that I make, and so and he just represents, I guess, like people were calling me the Lobster Man before I actually fully became a lobster, because I was making a lot of lobster design suits or lobster chairs. I mean, I always loved the symbol of the lobster, and I was always like doodling lobsters basically. So people were called me the Lobster Man already. It was like a nickname.
Yeah.
So then as I was making more painting and things, it sort of, and I was trying to portray myself, I'd already got this nickname of Lobster Man. So it just seemed obvious that, well, my creative self is already a lobster. People call me the Lobster Man. So
someone just asked the question if lobster is the only alter ego you have, or maybe there is someone else coming on the way.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bad habit. No, I'm going to be like, no, the thing is, at the moment, I'm just actually, my lobster character is like evolving. So I've, you know, he's mutating and going into like
maybe some baby lobsters.
Baby lobsters. I have been working on baby lobsters, and I've created these like hybrids between a shark and a lobster, because I've created this like this world for my lobster to live in. You know, like I've been layering this world with like more and more, you know, like, you know, subversive elements, and even just like trying to creatively push the boundaries of this world as much as possible. Like, because for me, Lobsterland represents just like the possibilities of art creating a language and a world of itself, and how that world can then influence the real world, and almost creating this like bridge between the surreal world of Lobsterland and then the sort of the surreal world of reality, which is also completely bonkers. So it's trying to create this, and I'm trying to, in a way, like, because for me the real value of art is the power of the fantasy of art, the power of the imagination, because that's for me like the what keeps art moving forward in a way, is like the dream continuing in a way of like reimagining the possibilities of art. Because otherwise, if everyone just painted the same type of still life painting over and over again, well, just, you know, where is the greatness of human imagination in that? You know, obviously you can invent cubism to see it differently, but that's again part of the idea of like reimagining how you see something. So it's part of that, you know. So I think for me, that's, I guess, the possibilities of having this world, and then in that world, you know, I've got my own museum in Lobsterland, so I have the Lobsterland Museum. I've got my
museum. Where's the museum?
So the museum is basically called the Lobster Museum. It's like it's a big sort of museum, and I started off, I put my own shows in there. So I have.
Is it in London?
Oh no, it's a virtual reality museum.
Oh,
so because it actually, when you mentioned virtual reality in art, like I actually created my Lobsterland world as a virtual reality, so you can go into it and walk around the desert, and you go into the town, and you can go in and you can meet the lobster character and go into his house. And like,
how can we experience that?
Well, yeah, so I had it in my last exhibition. I had like a virtual reality headset. I keep meaning to like put it on online. I haven't done that yet, but I am intending to put it on so everyone can go onto it.
Do you have to wear like the special glasses?
Yes, but I also, if people look on my Instagram, they can see renderings of Lobsterland, like video plays of it. But to actually fully interact with it, you have to basically have the headset. Yeah, which is the thing with the virtual reality headset. You know, the thing with virtual reality, it's an amazing thing. I don't know if you've tried it. Have you ever tried it?
I've tried it a couple of times. I almost fall down a couple of times.
Yeah, because it can make you feel a bit sick and stuff. The thing is, I was always a bit like, no, oh, this is.
I was crying also. Like, I experienced different kind of virtual reality. I love it.
But the thing is, what I find amazing is like, from imagine, you know, you're working on a painting in a two-dimensional flat surface, And then and you obsessively create this language and this world and stuff but you're defined to the flat two-dimensional surface. Then you suddenly start developing something in virtual reality. It's like you become like a god of your own world, because you can actually go into it and you can walk around and you can say, no, I want to build another massive building there. I want to, and it's the experience of actually interacting with your own ideas in a way, physically, that is, and having such possibilities, like infinite. You can do infinite ideas, because it's it's like you're the magician of your own world. So that experience in a way of playing with one's language in that very physical way artistically is a very profound experience somehow. Even though after a while I started getting dizzy and I'd have to get out of it, but there's definitely like a moment of the phenomenon of it, which is very interesting.
I believe it's a future, but it's also a scary thing, because I think in the future people will use it as an escape.
Of course,
glasses, and you press the button. I want to be in Maldives. I want to be here. So you live your miserable life. You don't have money.
Yeah.
And you see it, and you're just traveling around the world. You can be whoever you want. There's so many movies about it. So,
of course, no, 100%. And I think, have you seen that film? There's a film by Steven Spielberg called Ready Player One, which is like this sort of apocalyptic future where people basically escape to another world in virtual reality. And
that's an amazing movie. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. So but I had my virtual reality. Well, I had like a game, actually, a video game, when I did my show in Moscow.
Tell me more about that. I think it was in autumn last year.
Yeah, it was sort of sort of late last year. I mean, I love Moscow. It's I've always really been hugely inspired by like Russian art history. For me, like the Russian avant-garde were like the pinnacle of 20th century art. And I've also always been completely obsessed by Diaghilev and the Ballet Russe. I think that was that meeting of like costume, music and ballet all together in a way. Like it was such a modern phenomenon of like art crossing into this multiple. I mean, look at Picasso's costume designs for the Ballet Russe. In my mind, those are the most interesting progressive Picasso artworks, because not only do they evoke 100% the defining like amazingness of his sculptural work and stuff, but the fact they're wearable gives them another dimension of progressiveness, because they move, they walk around, and for me that space of like taking art out of the normal space is what's really interesting. Also, like other artists, like you have to forgive I love Larionov, the painter. Mikhail Larionov. When I was a kid growing up in Scotland, they had this amazing Larionov painting of like a soldier having a cigarette in the forest, and it was in the Scottish National Gallery, and I was like obsessed with this painting. So I think there's some amazing painters in Russia. I mean, and obviously.
Did you get inspired during your trip to Moscow?
Yeah, I mean, I think the city, Moscow, is such a beautiful, romantic, like incredible city, because it's just got this presence of the past and the different, the different structures from going from communism or social state to a sort of
like from Soviet Union time to now.
No, but and you can feel those traces of history in a way, and I think there's real historic sort of, for all its complexities and stuff, there's so much interesting layers of history in a way, and I think and there's always been such an amazing, like, profound creative spirit in Russia, and I think
how did you find people there?
This is what I find very interesting. Okay, people before, because I thought my work is quite colourful and quite hyper pop, and maybe people will read it as American somehow, and maybe find it a bit cheesy or something, and they just immediately not like it because they think it's too pop. But actually, I think people really got the irony in a way, and I found that people in Moscow and stuff to be super well read and super educated, like super and actually just the very positive energy. Like I was thinking, because of the climate being difficult, because I'm from Scotland as well, which is like sometimes people can be known for being a bit like depressed because of the climate and everything, but actually I find people's energy to be very positive. So I had an amazing time there in terms of the whole thing came about because my friend Svetlana Maric, a curator, basically introduced me to Olga, who runs the museum, and Olga's an amazing woman. Do you know Olga?
Not personally.
No, you've got to meet her because she's an amazing woman. She created the museum, and she's like such a part. She brought Francis Bacon to Russia, or to do a show in Moscow. I mean, so she's got an amazing legacy, and she's such an amazing like champion of the arts, and she's so like her energy is incredible. Like, she's such a strong woman. I was like so in awe of her. I thought she was incredible. But basically, yeah, it's an amazing space, and everyone was super nice there. And so I really.
Are you planning to go back to make another show in Moscow?
Well, my real dream is to do. My real dream is to basically do a Lobster land at the Bolshoi, like a homage to Diaghilev, but something hyper contemporary. That's my sort of dream.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So who knows one day? You know, you're not supposed to really talk about your dreams, maybe, but that's
yeah. So tell me, like, what is the next show coming? Did you plan anything, or like anything got postponed? Because my show
so
I had in June, and now I have to postpone to November. So hopefully,
it's tough, isn't it? Yeah. Basically, I mean, I had a crazy year of like I showed in Hong Kong, like Tokyo, Hong Kong, Korea. Like it was the most intense, like Shad, for example.
So was it
in Bulgaria.
Or different artworks? So
different artworks. So I had like a crazy. Some of them were curated. Like for example, some of the works in Moscow were lent to like you know, Andrei Malakov very sweetly lent the Boar Hunt 2 painting, which was in the show, and other people had lent things as well. And so I was able to mix some new works and some older works over the last few years, and then with some of the other shows, they were all new works. So I'd had like a pretty intense year of like of making things and stuff. But I'm traveling.
Do you have in your like from Lobster Land series? How many artworks in total?
Well, I think I think my studio was telling me the other day that I've now made like I think 500 paintings
500.
and stuff. Yeah, which I was like, whoa, you know, I hadn't really realized that it got so many.
And your artworks, they're so detailed, so it looks like a collage, but it's all hand painted.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my sort of old, you know, masters influenced Hunt paintings, which are very like complex battle paintings, and very much an ode to like this sort of idea of like grandeur in art in a way, and a sort of a reverence towards that. And then I've got more like the more simple portraits, which are maybe my self portraits as a lobster, and I've got various varieties of those. So I like in my shows that in a way I like to change the beats from very like complex painting to more simplistic. So in a way, so there's a sense of freedom in the show, because I always think that it's quite nice to have a fluidity to your spirit, which takes to surprise people a little bit in an exhibition.
And how long did it take you to create all this series, the lobster?
Well, you know, the thing is, art for me is like an obsession. So it's like, you know, and my world is in a way obsession of like probably 20 years of building like a language of some sort. But it's only in the last few years that I've really been like pushing it properly. And I think I'd say like of all the work I'm showing now, it's probably been like a result of intensive 3 years of work. But as I said, like the language of that is like I've been making suits, for example, probably for like 15 years. And so a lot of the symbols came from the suits. And you know, or wearable art dresses or other kinds of paintings.
When did you start to be involved in art?
Basically, I studied philosophy. So I was obsessed by Friedrich Nietzsche when I was like a pothead teenager. And basically, I went to do a philosophy degree. And yeah, I was always like really interested in art. That was, I guess, the language I was connected with and stuff. But I started off initially. I didn't quite have the confidence really to set myself out properly as like a conventional artist. So I started off by making like wearable art, and this idea of like an art brand. So it was like art, but it was also semi-commercial in terms of trying to merge the worlds. So I made a lot of like wearable artworks and things. And I also had like a band where I rapped, and I would write songs about the clothes and about the art. And it was like it was a bit of a homage to Diaghilev in terms of I was really interested in this idea of like a modern pop hybrid between art, clothing, and music.
Kind of pop and surrealism together.
Yeah, for me these are all important things for me. Like I'm obviously like my Lobster is a nod to surrealism. He is a sort of a protagonist of surrealism. Like so, in a way, I try and be a contemporary surrealist, but I also believe in the philosophy of pop. You know, I think that for me, art should bring people together and should celebrate the common language and also for me, that common language is probably the most meaningful language of all, because you can be pretentious about language, but you can also embrace the power of simplicity in language. You know, like for me, like food, for example, is like something that connects everyone across the world, and actually we have so much deep emotive connection and meaning to. Like when I open the fridge at night, late at night, like there's an existential moment I have, which
do you have lobsters?
I don't eat lobsters. People always ask me, like, do I eat lobsters? But I was that would completely kill my credibility as a lobster.
Yeah, you know,
one thing I've been actually collecting recently for a new series of sculptures is fossilized lobsters, which are 100 million years old. And I've now built up a collection of these 100 million year old fossilized lobsters. Which I find insane that, you know, that a fossil can be that old and still keep the physical shape and the complete sculptural shape. So that's a new like obsession I have at the moment, is this like ancient history thing.
What materials are they made from, like your lobsters?
Yeah, so these are addition. This is like an addition of in resin. But I have a whole series of new, like I mentioned, this art against the virus. I've created another one of those, which is in resin, and then I have some in bronze as well, and then some in wood I'm doing now, and then in marble also. I'm sort of dipping my toe into different like mediums of almost like genre mediums, like marble, because in a way I'm doing these big, you know, grand hunt paintings. I felt I needed to take that same spirit and apply it to sculpture. So have, you know, classic sort of Renaissance style marbles, for example. But
so what is the largest sculpture that you've made?
Well, so I've done large inflatables. So I have like a 20-meter inflatable lobster. I had like a 10-meter inflatable on the roof of the Palace Hotel in Stad at Christmas. I don't know if you saw that, but that was pretty crazy. I mean,
I saw it on social media. Really impressive.
Valley. But in terms of I've just started making a 10-meter aluminium lobster, like a 10-meter, like fully
10 meters.
Yeah,
that's very tall.
Yeah, so that's but you know, we're putting that in this stately.
Is it going to be a public art?
Yeah, so it's going in this formal gardens of a stately home. So, you know, you'd see it from miles away, and it'll sit by this big castle. So it'd be super surreal. This like giant lobster toy standing almost the same size as this sort of French castle. It's going to be quite surreal.
That's amazing. So what happened? Like from what I know, you had 3 exhibitions in March and April. I think in Bulgaria, Taipei, and Switzerland. So yeah. I think it's exactly the time when the situation with Corona has started. So what did happen to your exhibitions?
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy that. So, for example, yeah, I mean, in a way, like my last exhibition was actually in Taipei. So the first 2 was Sophia in early February. Coronavirus was underway in Asia, but it hadn't really penetrated like Europe and stuff. So I think that was during that period where in Europe we were a bit disconnected, and we weren't, which is pretty crazy. It's like a tsunami's happening, and we didn't really properly see it coming. And the one thing I had sort of felt it quite a lot, because I'm dealing with quite a lot of people in Asia, and so I was hearing a lot about it a lot. So I was constantly like perplexed why we weren't panicking more, and so I was very worried about going to Taipei for my show, which in the end I was very lucky that I did actually go, because I did go in the end, and actually Taipei, and I was worried a lot initially, because obviously Taipei is very close to China in terms of globally, our proximity and geographically, but actually it managed the virus extremely well, so they never really ended up with a particularly big outbreak. It was relatively well contained. So my opening happened, but we cancelled the opening itself, but we had like an open day where people were practicing social distancing. So it was pretty crazy. Wow. I was doing that in February. And I have to say, like, I was on the fence about going or not. And I have to say, I was so happy that I did go, because I met so many amazing people. And also I witnessed like such an amazing, like, people in Taipei.
It's an experience, definitely.
Yeah, and people in Taipei also were so brilliant at dealing with it, because there was a real respect for like the rules in terms of like not shaking hands, and people still were going about their daily life and still making things happen. So I thought it was actually an amazing model. I felt.
Actually, I'm very lucky that the opening happened and like took place. But yeah. But the exhibition, how many weeks was it supposed to last? Like, was it?
Yeah, so it was. I mean,
or less than that.
I was pretty blown away by the whole thing because to be honest, I didn't expect much because of what was going on. I was expecting the whole thing to get delayed, but they kept the gallery open and they ran a social distancing thing. So to be honest, the show ran the full period.
They coped very well with this situation.
They coped very well. I mean, obviously, and they did very well with the show. And and I have to say, but I have to say, I find the people in Taipei also amazing. Like, I totally recommend going. It's like amazing energy and like,
yeah,
it's a really special city. And so again, like I guess I feel particularly right now that we can't travel anymore, I feel so lucky to have been able to do so much traveling because, you know, now we're in a period where who knows when we can travel like that again. It's like,
But do you see the difference, like when it comes to the sales of your artworks? How are the sales? Do you have any sales during this quarantine period? I see.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of. I guess I've been quite lucky because I had this like intense period before. So in a way, you know, I had a few shows that have been postponed and stuff, which was obviously very disappointing. But then at the same time, I've been able to just really focus on things now, and I haven't really been pushing actively sales or anything because obviously I feel that at the moment it's you know, it's just a very peculiar time to be doing that. So, you know, but bizarrely, like I'm very lucky. I think that I have this presence in Asia and stuff, and I think things have kept moving there. And like, yeah, I feel I've been very lucky with that. So that's, I guess, why also like I really wanted to like push my energy into raising money for COVID charities because I felt that I've had some good fortune, which I felt that it was good to try and do stuff now in this downtime to try and help.
So, and how are the galleries coping? I think it's also a tough time for
very tough time for galleries. I think it's tough for artists obviously as well because you know generally artists move to one show to the next and stuff. But I think the for galleries who have retail spaces and have to pay rent, it's very tough. I think. I think the very challenge is, you know, I guess in times like these, there's this challenge to try and adapt and make the best of a bad situation, and I think within that there's opportunities to be inventive and
I think like whoever is going digital and they can.
So do you ever make digital works?
Actually I'm working on on the kind of VR video also. It will be part of my show. So it's about our planet and about the ecological situation.
Wow, amazing. Yes, because your work is very ecologically inspired, isn't it?
Yes, especially now that, we can see how our planet is recovering and we can see the impact of global warming.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, my show will be about that. It's like different parts of the world and
amazing
problems that we are facing. So, and I will have a video that will illustrate how our world appeared and what we are doing with that. So basically destroying with our own hands. So like very strong message.
Yeah, there's some interesting lectures by Noam Chomsky online that you can hear about, and you know he's got some interesting sort of very left wing approach, but it's definitely very interesting the way that he looks at the current threats to humanity and how that coronavirus is a threat, but it's nothing compared to nuclear war and environmental disaster.
Exactly. So everybody's saying now it's coronavirus, then it's economic crisis, and then the climate change gonna hit us. Like
that's why we have to be very careful not to be sleeping and create something much worse. So I think it's amazing to be championing.
So it's amazing that we artists can bring awareness to the public, to people, and send a message. So hopefully we can make some positive changes to this fast changing world.
Yeah, crazy. I know. It's we just have, everyone has to try their best. That's the.
So when are you making any plans for your next show? Because I'm thinking like, when should I plan the date for my show?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think things will have to like go back to some form of like normal-ish, but not normal as we knew it before. But I think social distancing is going to be like I would say another to probably next year, late next year. I think galleries should be able to open again. I'd like to think, and I think that they'll probably be able to open sooner rather than later. But people will have to be quite like, you know, maybe openings could be over a day, and so
maybe it will be not more than, I don't know, 50 people at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like the social
Yeah,
distancing.
but I think there's an advantage to that in terms of like, you know, as the artist, like, you know, you can chat to people and you have more time and sometimes when there's a massive crowd, it's
That's
like
true.
you
Yeah,
don't get
there will be
the
more space for the artwork to breathe and to really enjoy
yeah
it and see it.
yeah no
So maybe
completely
you
and
have to do like 3 days opening.
I think artists are also quite lucky that because people are spending a lot of time at home, and so I think art people can actually who have art can very much live with it.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, that I think there's definitely, you know, a lot of people that still want art because they you know they're living they're spending all the time at home, and so they you know.
Yeah, at least you can.
So,
I never enjoyed my home so much.
yeah, I know. So lucky to
Also
yeah.
really good. So, do you feel like you created more artworks during the lockdown than
I think, you know,
during?
it's yeah, it's I don't know. I wouldn't say it's it's just a bit different. Like I obviously because I've got two kids. It's obviously I don't have quite as much
Yeah.
time as normal. But then in a way, it's like I've got a different. I've got like a slight detachment from my usual like crazy London studio setup with like because my studio is in like
Where is
East
your
London, but
studio?
it's in Shoreditch, but it's like it's on Ebor Street, so it's just next to Shoreditch House. But it's an amazing little spot because it's a very energetic part of East London. So it's like
Do you
you
spend
know,
it? You go there every day? Or?
yeah. So I live very close by,
Oh, that's great.
I have like quite I guess a rigorous routine of being in the studio. For me, like the routine is really important because you know you have good days and bad days, but if you're just like constantly plugging away. To be honest, my philosophy with anything, I think if people just like apply, you know, work ethic, that they can do anything. You know, anything is
So,
possible.
so what does your ordinary day look like? What time do you wake up? What do you do? Like,
Yeah. So, well, at the
hours?
moment, it's like pretty. The kids are getting up at like 6:30 every day. So that's
Wow,
yeah.
that's
So
early.
I'm in zombie mode most of the day. Basically.
What hour do you go to the studio?
So generally speaking, like I'm not going to studio at the moment because I'm sort of isolating in the house. But
Ah, so oh my god, that's a shame.
yeah, so I've been missing the studio, but then now it's become a new normal in a way. Like I was sentimentally, you know, missing my studio all the time, but then, you know, in a way, like I guess I was saying a bit about the silver lining thing. I think, you know, I've probably been so addicted to like the slave of art in a way, and actually there's something quite nice about, you know, having this time to just be with my kids and stuff and my wife more, and so, you know, so that's been
So you got
that's been a sort of in a way the silver lining of it. But I think so. But generally in London, like I'm sort of in my studio like probably from like 9:30 to like 6:30 every day.
so pretty much the whole day. I'm lucky.
Yeah,
I have a small studio in the house, so I can.
that's good. Yeah, you could. That's
Yeah.
efficient. You know, no commuting time wasted.
So yeah, now I can really spend some good time there.
So are you? So you're based in London, but
Yes.
do you go back and forth to Russia quite a bit?
I go maybe like 3 times a year to Moscow. I'm not from Moscow. I'm from Yekaterinburg. Uh, it's Ural Mountains, central part of Russia, beginning of Siberia.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful city as well. But I mostly go to Moscow for work. So
Amazing.
London is the same place. Yeah.
So we basically met a couple of times in person, haven't we? Because at my show, and then also
I met in your show,
and then also at the film, the
yeah,
Russian
the
film
charity. Yes, you auctioned one of your
paintings. That's
lobsters.
it.
Lobsters, yes, exactly.
Yeah, and we were matching in red.
And we were matching. You were wearing red,
I
and
know.
I was
Yeah,
wearing red. That is so funny.
yeah. We can do a stand-in for Gilbert and George. You know, in the red suits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, amazing. So have you been doing quite a lot of the live chats? Is it have you do one a week or?
Yeah, so sometimes I join other people chat, so we talk about art. So yesterday I joined some chat. I think now it's a trend, so everybody doing
Amazing,
that.
yeah.
So, and yeah, I'm just starting now these talks with the artists. So I had last week with one online gallery owner.
Yeah.
So, and I have a lineup of different artists So every
Amazing.
week, yeah, twice a
Yeah.
week at least.
So cool. No, it's amazing you're doing that. I think it's super cool. Yeah.
That's great. So, do you have any other live uh, interviews or?
Well, so I'm doing this.
I saw Sachi. That was great. I enjoyed that one.
Oh, thank you so much. Did you see me doing the one with my friend Dougie Fields?
Yes, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it in recording.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Dougie's
just
an
a couple
amazing
of months
character.
later.
Yeah, he's a really fun character. And,
He's great.
yeah, he's really sweet. He's actually just such a great example of an artist because he's very humble, very sweet, but you know, super interesting and like very charming and a gentle character.
I think there's a lot of like between you and him.
Yeah, I think there's sort of. It was quite funny. There was a moment where we were both drinking.
You were both wearing glasses.
Yeah, I know, because I thought I had to wear glasses.
Did you
to
plan
hide.
that?
I'm like hiding behind the glasses, basically. That's why I'm all about facades. I'm like creating lobster costumes and like I'm basically a very shy person, effectively.
I don't believe that.
No, I think the funny thing is, you know, when I used to have my band and I used to perform, like my friends who know me as actually quite a shy person were like shocked when they would see me on stage because they were like, that can't be you, because they just have me down as such like a shy person. So it was quite funny and I think also people assume because of my building of my lobster persona and everything, I guess. Yeah. But no, I think I'm a funny mixture of that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I'm at work in my studio and stuff, I'm always wearing black. You know, I didn't wear any color or anything. But then when I'm like doing my shows, I often wear like colorful suits or like the more of the pop.
Creating people, yes.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice to have like this dynamic of like a double self. You know, like because it gives you almost a bit of space to breathe.
This is some balance.
Yeah, a bit of balance. So it's like a healthy schizophrenic, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm healthy. Hopefully. Yeah.
Are you trying to stay healthy during the lockdown?
Yeah, trying. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's
work out.
I'm quite well. I actually go running. Yeah, I've started because I was quite lazy before, but I think I was okay in terms of health because I'm quite hyperactive, so I was like always at the studio or like going out or doing stuff. So I was quite busy, but I think now that I've been stuck at home all the time, I've started to go running just to keep myself.
Oh, especially the weather is so lovely now. like I go.
Yeah. I know we're very lucky. The lockdown is in summer or spring rather than the harsh winter. I think.
God knows how long it's gonna last. Hopefully,
yeah,
it's gonna finish soon.
Yeah, I think. How long do you think it will last for? I think another month, maybe.
I think till mid-June.
Yeah.
To be honest, yes. In Europe, it's becoming now they're opening some restaurants, but you still keep social distancing. But I think the borders and the flights will start like from mid-June. The borders will open. So it depends on the country. So we'll see also.
Well, I think that's
a second wave now.
But that's going to be really complicated opening borders because that's the thing that I guess I'm really like you know, sad about in a way because I did love this freedom of traveling and like especially with art. It was just so amazing to be able to do shows in different places and meet people. And so, and in a way, like in this time, it's going to be very difficult for countries to have a complete free thing because
I think not all countries will open.
No,
yeah, or if they will open, Europe will be open only for internal European flights, not, for example, flights definitely not from China.
Yeah.
Or from the US. US will be closed. I think US might stay closed all summer.
Yeah, wow, crazy. Yeah, I was supposed to go to New York the weekend of the just when they closed the flights, which is crazy.
Now is the time of a Cannes Film Festival, so I usually go every year. So.
Wow, yeah, crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. The film festivals are all like, I mean, it's such a mad time. Yeah, crazy.
Everything. The Olympics got postponed. The Expo in Dubai got postponed.
I know. Can you believe? I just can't believe that in February we were seeing it happening, and just it was impossible to conceive of what has actually happened. It's sort of like it's crazy, isn't it? To think that something affects the whole world
so quickly, and now the life completely is so different. Yeah. But I believe 2021 will be the busiest year ever.
Of course, yeah. I know that's what we have to be optimistic.
I think we have to accumulate some energy and Yes,
Yeah.
rest well before
Yeah,
the
definitely.
craziness begins.
Definitely.
Okay, it was
Amazing.
lovely chatting with
You
you.
too. That's
Thank
just
you
so
so
nice of you to
much.
have me on the show,
Oh, someone, Philip,
on your
we are
TV
waiting
show.
for a lobster mask. Someone wants to see you in a lobster mask. That's
Well,
interesting.
I can show you something. So I haven't got my own lobster mask yet, but well, actually, I am making some. But these are the t-shirts I was mentioning earlier. You can see that there's a mask on the lobster.
Yes.
So, and I am doing some lobster masks. I just haven't done them yet. They're part of this collection I'm doing in Asia.
Or fried egg mask. Someone wants to see
Yeah.
fried egg. That's a good
No, but
idea.
I actually have a mask that looks like a fried egg. I do have. It looks like a fried egg.
Yes, it does, actually.
Yeah. I know we need like a better variety of masks out there.
Do you wear a mask once you go to the park?
Well, yeah, I'm literally locked in the house most of the time, so I'm not going out very much. I mean, the thing is, we're lucky because we've got a garden here, so that's a
Yeah,
massive advantage.
that's a big advantage.
But yeah, when I go to the supermarket, I'm like full gloves and like I
Yeah,
have
me
to go
too.
and
Disinfect, gloves, mask. Yeah, but
yeah,
once I'm in the park, I don't wear anything.
yeah.
Try to keep distance with people.
No, completely. It's essential. I think. I mean, you need. I mean, that's the. I mean, not being able to go outside would be very. That'd be pretty tough.
I know.
Just a little bit of fresh air is pretty good.
Very
Yeah.
important.
Amazing.
Okay.
Cool. Well,
Thank you so much for your time. Have a
of
fabulous
course.
day.
Of course, you too. Lots of love, everyone.
Okay. Ciao,
Stay
ciao.
safe, everyone. Ciao.
Looking forward for more new creations from you.
These are my lobsters. I've got some flowers in them. You see that?
Lobsters all the way. The lobster was. He's yellow, not red this time.
I know. I mean, they've got a variety of colors. I'll show you. I've got a red one too.
Show us around. We want to see.
That's the red one. This is like my dining space, which I've turned into a studio. So it's like I've converted.
And you can see some
sign.
McDonald's on the background.
And then just a very messy desk. There's some books I'm reading at the moment. So
artistic desk. Yeah.
Also great painter.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite painters is James Soutine. See this guy? Painted rock, amazing painter. Yeah. Nam June-paik, amazing video artist.
Mm-hmm.
Francis Bacon.
So you can say that they inspire you for your creations?
Richard Hamilton. Richard Hamilton's an amazing British pop artist. This guy.
Yep.
Hamilton. Check him out. He's good. What else have we got here? This is my cool Frank Stella. I love Frank Stella 80s works. The slightly less popular 80s.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm very into those. One of my kids' books, Dog Activities.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jean Arc, the sculptor. Art.
Yeah.
For me, one of the greats of modernism, art. And then, then I'm really into this Graham Sutherland as well, British artist. And one last one that I'm really into as well is this German painter called Christian Schad.
Mm-hmm.
That's my reading list, everyone.
Oh, you got like really the whole library there on your desk.
Yeah. It's a lot of reading. Okay.
Okay, ciao.
Thanks very much.
Kiss.
Ciao.
And I want my t-shirt. I want a lobster t-shirt. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, Philip, for your interview. And yes, what I was saying, I want my lobster t-shirt so I can go to the park and show it around. So I will keep you updated with the next live interviews, and it's a secret who is going to be our next artist. I will post more information very soon. Guys, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay home, and I see you very soon. When is the next live video? Look at my stories, and the updates will be coming. Big kiss. Bye.